Broncos here, and Tanner and I are here to bring a very special prize picks segment for this game. Now, you can take these picks, obviously, you can roll them over to the sports books. The lines might be slightly different. You know, instead of 200 yards, you might get it for 198 here, but these are still going to be our top player prop betting picks for this Thursday night football matchup. And we're also going to talk about the major markets as well, the spreads, the money lines, all of that great stuff. So, Tanner, Broncos riding a 6-game winning streak. Raiders have 2 wins all season. Is there any reason to believe an upset is on the board here?
I think because it's a divisional game, that's the only reason to say that there is a close game coming. I wouldn't say an upset. I mean, 9.5 points is a lot. The Broncos are better, but the Broncos are surviving too. You look at how they played last week against the Texans. It took another fourth quarter comeback to get the job done there. If CJ Stroud doesn't get hurt in that game, we could be looking at a different result down the stretch. So just a spot where I think the Broncos find ways to win, and I credit them for doing that, but I don't think they're the best football team in the world by any means. They got a good defense. They got a quarterback that's going to compete. He hasn't been great this season. But yeah, I think it could be close. The spread's really confusing to me because the Raiders are not very good. You have a quarterback that turns it over all the time. They got beaten in really tough fashion on Sunday. So how many times can you keep coming back from losses like that, get up in a division game on the road? It's going to be hard for them. I wouldn't want to lay 9.5 points. I'd probably take 9.5 over laying it. With that being said, though, it's a no play, and I'll stick to my prize pick segment.
So I am going to be betting on the Raiders at plus 9.5. I might buy the 10.5. Might wait to see if the line moves. Live betting opportunities, just those little ways that you can try to be smarter, more effective, better. But I do like the Raiders side of this, and I want to go to what you said. So the Broncos are a very good team. I want to make that clear, even though I'm not laying the points with them. The thing that's most impressive to me is the way they play complementary football, because Bo Nix has escaped a lot of the sophomore slump conversations because his team has been winning games. And what I give him and the team is the defense has carried this team. They might have the best defense in football, but then in a lot of these games, Bo Nix might be terrible for 3 quarters. They get to the fourth quarter or they get to a late drive, and he has made the winning plays. So I've got to give that to him. I've got to give that to the coaching staff. Putting him in the right position, the defense as well, having the offense in position to, hey, don't worry about it. We got you back for the first 45 minutes. You get us for the last 15, and we can win this game. So they are a very good team. I would echo some of what you said. They have been skating by to a certain extent. In week 1, I get it, it's week 1, but it's a 1-score win over the Titans. They do blow out the Bengals, but then they have this furious comeback on the road against the Eagles, which is obviously a great win, but still coming from behind. You barely get past the Jets in a game in which Justin Fields has 45 yards. You score 33 points in the fourth quarter. Up until that game, like 1,600 teams who had been in that position had lost that game. You do blow out the Cowboys, although that looks less and less like an impressive win. And then against the Texans, Nix was terrible to start that game. He was 0 of 7 with an interception. And then defense does its thing, and he finally converts a little bit late in the fourth quarter. So on one hand, if Bo Nix does play better, this can be a dominant team. They're winning. They're not dominant right now. But then on the other, if the defense doesn't play at that league best standard, they could have lost a lot of games that they actually won up to this point.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And you look at the Colts loss. I mean, this could be the only 1-loss team in the AFC right now if you take that one away. So
True.
This is a team that's very competitive defensively, as you were saying. And Bo Nix has been a league average quarterback. He's like 17th in QBR. He throws touchdowns. He throws some picks, but he gets the job done for the most part. And I agree, he's escaped that sophomore slump because of the defense. But he's also just been a league average quarterback. And if you're a league average quarterback and you win football games, or your team's a little over 500, you're probably going to escape a lot of that criticism here. I have my concerns that the Raiders can stay in the game with just how the entire season has gone for them. There's no consistency on either side of the ball. Geno Smith is like a turnover machine going against a really good Broncos defense. I said it last week with Miami. I thought Miami was going to be able to stay in the game a little bit against the Ravens, and that, looking back on it, that was dumb. But, they didn't protect the football. They didn't do the things that winning teams do. And if they would have just done those things, don't turn the ball over inside your own 10-yard line when you have a lead. Don't throw a Hail Mary with a 5-foot nothing receiver against a 6-foot safety. Like, just don't do that stuff on 4th down. And you're probably going to don't miss a 19-yard field goal. That's the stuff that these teams like the Raiders tend to do. And it causes them to not cover spreads, which are more than capable. They're more than capable of covering if they just don't do the make stupid mistakes.
Yeah, one big reason that you could be looking at the Raiders here, and this is going to roll over into my first pick from the PrizePicks menu. Brock Bowers had a very, very strong impact return to the lineup. 12 catches, forget the exact number, but 120-something yards, 3 touchdowns. And Geno Smith in this game against the Jags defense that had been good. Yeah, I know that they'd regressed a little bit lately, but they had been good. He goes for 4 touchdowns, has another interception because he can't seem to go one game without an interception. But you did see Geno come to life, and it was directly linked to Brock Bowers. And the Broncos, like I said, the Broncos might have the best defense in the NFL, although they did suffer a major injury last weekend. Nobody can guard Bowers. He's one of those guys. Doesn't matter if you were, I don't know how this would happen, but if you were playing the Vikings and you had Justin Jefferson on your team, it doesn't matter. Justin Jefferson's going to get open. Jamar Chase is going to get open. Brock Bowers is going to get open. So I do think that nobody can stop him. So we saw him almost single-handedly drag his team to a win last week as a tight end. That's remarkable. And I think he can certainly go on the road and play another good game here.
Yeah, I would like Brock Bowers over 58.5 receiving yards here. I think it's a good spot for him. I think he catches a touchdown. He kind of has to. Like, the script says they have to throw the ball to compete in this game. So I will lean into what you were saying here. I'll agree with you there, but I like Geno Smith over 211.5 passing yards. When you look at just Geno Smith or more than 211.5, we're talking PrizePicks here, but if you want to bring it over to a sports book, you go over. I look at Geno Smith and he's boomer bust, right? 284 against the Jaguars, 67 against the Chiefs, 174 against the Titans, 228 against the Colts, 117 against the Bears. Like, it's 362 against the Pats to open the seat. Like, it's like good game, bad game, good game, bad game. So he is coming off a good throwing game. That would mean he tends to revert back to a bad one based on this, because it would be like more, less, more, less, more, less, less, more. So pretty much fall on that trajectory. I think he's going to stack some good games here just because they're going to have to throw the ball. They know that. And he has, when he's on, I mean, he can throw for a lot of yards. So I will trust that the Broncos are going to score a little bit. Both teams are going to have to score, and Geno Smith's going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah, so I'm actually also, I was making the Brock Bowers point, but I'm also with you on the Geno. The Geno line is my favorite. They're over 211.5 or more than 211.5, just like you alluded to. I just think they have to throw it. And Ashton Jeanty is as great of a talent as he is, as great of a prospect he is. He's just not being put in positions to succeed. Either it's the offense, they're not scheming it in a good way. The offensive line isn't blocking. The receivers also aren't helping to block. Maybe that gets easier with Bowers there, attracting attention from the defense. But then again, he only had like 42 rushing yards last week. So I think any sort of offensive progress does have to come on the back of Geno Smith there. I am also going to flip it over to the Broncos here. And I'm going to go with a guy who I called out on the show, I think 2 weeks ago, and he had a pretty great game. Matter of fact, what did he do in this game? I think I just closed my tab, of course. Mr. Troy Franklin is the guy that I'm talking about. Called his name 2 weeks ago. When I did, he had 6 catches for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. I took his overs in that game, and I'm going to take him over again. It's another low line. He is only at 39.5 for more or less. Obviously, we're taking more here. And what I really like about him is you look at his target share recently. 3 weeks ago, he has 10 targets against the Giants. 2 weeks ago, it's 8 targets against the Cowboys. Last week, it's 10 targets against the Texans. Courtland Sutton is the number 1 receiver, but Troy Franklin is getting looks. He is on the field, and Bo Nix is throwing the ball in his direction. Now, Nix hasn't been very accurate. Again, the season has been great overall, but this Raiders defense is very friendly to opposing quarterbacks. And 40 yards for receiver is like 3 receptions, maybe 4 receptions, and he can do that.
Yeah, no, I'm aligned with you there, Grant. I do think that's a good play. I'm going to take it back, though, to the Raiders here, going back to Ashton Jeanty. Remember when we were talking about Ashton Jeanty, if he was going to make it in the NFL? So far, the Boise State narrative is not true. He cannot run over anybody without blocking. So I think that Ashton Jeanty's best way of getting involved in this game is through the air, and we're getting a really good line on his receiving yards at 14.5. So I will take more on PrizePicks, or you can take higher or over on any sports book you're taking. But Ashton Jeanty, when it looks to look at the receiving yards, when Geno Smith is having a good game, Ashton Jeanty's typically going over this line. Coming off 5 for 47 last week against the Jaguars, that was pretty much his biggest game of the season. He had 5 for 42 against the Colts earlier in the year as well. Let's see here. Yeah, he's really starting to come alive. 47, 13, 11, 42, 17. Early in the season wasn't getting any catches really. So I think they know that they have to start getting the ball to him through the air to make him effective, whether that's in the screen game, whether it's just getting the ball to him quickly just to see if he can make some plays. That's the best way to open up his legs and get his explosiveness involved there, because they can't do it through the run game. So I'll take the over on the receiving yards. I think this line's going to continue to tick up as he gets more catches.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You got to get him involved somehow. He is still a great talent. He just hasn't been able to do it running the ball. So it makes sense that they would get him the ball this way. I'll actually finish it off here. I'll go to my third pick. I'll take the over on the other running back, the more on the other running back, J.K. Dobbins. I'll go over 69.5. He's also been up and down. So he goes under last week with 61. Then it's 111 before that, 81 before that, 40. 79. Actually, it's not as erratic of a pattern. It would be under, over, under, over. So it pretty consistent going up. The Raiders defense, I understand I think they're 11th or 12th in yards allowed per rush attempt. They're averaging or allowing just 4 yards per carry, but the way their offense is, it's not like they're consistently running up the score. So I don't think Bo Nix will be pressured to throw the ball a ton. Also, from kind of going back to what I was saying about the Broncos doing a good job of playing complementary football, the coaching staff has insulated Bo Nix to a certain extent. They give him a lot of very quick passes, short stuff, but there's a lot of running. They don't want to put a bunch of pressure on him. The Raiders don't have this overwhelming defense that's going to force turnovers, and they don't have a punishing offense either. So I think Dobbins is going to get a minimum of 15 carries in this game, maybe up to 20. And that's enough volume to get over this sort of line.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think the Broncos don't necessarily have to come into this game and say we're going to throw all over the Raiders. Like they can pretty much do whatever they want to. The Raiders got to respond to that. So I would agree there with the J.K. Dobbins more than rushing yards. So if we're going to put this in a slip here, Grant, we're going to do a 5-pick.
Okay.
Right here. All right. So on PrizePicks, if you put all these in a slip here and you do a power play, $20 would pay 400. That means you have to get 5 out of 5. If you do a flex play, so that means first place or 5 correct picks pay 10x, so 20 pays 200, 4 pays 2x, 3 pays 0.4x. So you lose a little money there if that's the case. But so $20, 200. I kind of like it.
So we got the Geno more than 211.5. We got the JK more than 69.5. The Troy Franklin more than 39.5. The Brock Bowers more than 50. What was it?
58.5.
And then what was the last? What's our number? That's 4.
Jeanty receiving.
Jeanty receiving. Okay. That's the slip.
All right. 20 to pay 200. We're going for a power play. 5 out of 5.
We're liking the overs. So we need some offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to be over for the Raiders unless they just get 3 and out every single time, like the Commanders did last week, pretty much.
Thank you.
But I'm feeling pretty good about this one. So